I'm Brandon Brotsky with Reach Home Loans, and I want to talk about the difference, or more important than that, what's most important to you, interest rate or cost when looking to purchase a home. Now, you might say to yourself, what's the difference between interest rate and cost? Aren't they the same thing? And they have one thing to do with one another, however, they're not the same thing. So your interest rate is actually what your monthly payments are going to be based upon. It's the amount of interest you're going to pay on the principal balance or whatever you borrow, and that's going to determine your monthly payment. Where the cost is not only going to include the monthly payments, but it's also to include your settlement costs, which are the different costs you incur when buying a home, title, government charges, and so forth, over that period of time. So what we want to do in order to determine what's more important, or what's more important to you, I should say, is we need to know how long you see yourself keeping the property that you're going to purchase. Now, this might not be something you thought of right away, but it is important to understand if it's a long-term property or a short-term property. Because the shorter you plan to keep a property, the more the cost matters. The longer you plan to keep the property, the more the rate matters. So here's how this works. Let's just say you wanted the lowest interest rate. So you opt to go, maybe you pay a discount point to buy the rate down, which increased your cost. So let's say your actual cost to close on the property are roughly $12,000. And over the next 5 years, you pay another $60,000 worth of payments. So you have $60,000 plus the $12,000 is $72,000, right? You wanted the lowest rate. And you plan to keep the property longer than 5 years. Now, you're someone who plans to keep a property less than 5 years. So maybe the cost is more important to you. And in order to determine that, you need to know what's going to actually keep your cost below $72,000. Well, it might make more sense to take a higher interest rate, which will increase the monthly payment. But by doing so, you can probably get a lender credit. And that lender credit will bring down your upfront costs. So what would have been $72,000 buying a lower interest rate might only cost you $45,000 over the next 5 years. Comparatively, almost $30,000 less over the same period of time. So where rate and cost really matter is on length of time you plan to keep the property. Like I said, the longer you plan to keep a home, normally 5 years or more, the rate would matter. The shorter you plan to keep a home, 5 years or less, the cost would matter. So keep these things in mind when determining the right type of mortgage for yourself, and that will help you understand what's more important to you, rate or cost.